This is episode 15 of Spiritual AF with Pixie Rose, the podcast for people going on their spiritual journey, knowing that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Today on the podcast, I have Andrea from Lost Gypsy Collective. Andrea is a powerful medium, psychic, empowerment coach, and a bombshell hype girl. We met in a psychic development group, was it 2 years ago?
Oh, I think it maybe 3
Maybe
years
3 years ago, yeah. And yeah, so we just met and we were both learning to enhance our psychic and mediumship abilities. And I remember being so amazed when I met you and talking about your mediumship abilities.
Got me in the feels.
It was definitely something that I was kind of hesitant to open up, that mediumship ability.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, it's kind of pretty powerful for me as well. So once it opened up, I'm like...
It's crazy what happens when you let it in.
Yeah. And not so
it,
scary either. I do like to talk about, mediumship not needing to be scary. So my first question I would like to ask is a bit about your story and basically how you got to be where you are right now and what you're doing right now. I love your story because I feel like it's got some really great examples of synchronicities and just how when we're on the path, just how everything flows. And sometimes it doesn't make sense at the time, but then you look back at it and it's just totally divine. So yeah, if you'd like to share your story.
Ooh, buckle up. No. So, it's pretty crazy. So it all started probably when I was about 18. I randomly took a job selling Foxtel. Super random. But I met this guy named Ben who was like my boss of such. And he is super spiritual. I didn't know that at the time, but he's super spiritual, everything like that. And he's like, oh my God, you need to meet my brother. My brother's so spiritual. You'll just get along with him so well. Anyway, so they're from Mackay. So I've never met them. We're from Victoria. Never met them before. Over the years, I kind of just kept missing meeting his brother. That's so random. Then I started really getting into fitness, what helps with my mindset and your mental health and everything like that. I think is super important. And basically I met another girl who kind of crossed paths with me and she's like, oh, I want you to do fitness modeling with me. And I was like now that's totally not me, but I was on the path of kind of figuring out who I was. So I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. So I started doing fitness modeling with her and because I was kind of growing, I was starting to tap into my psychic abilities a lot more and mainly more accept them, I guess, accept them and everything like that. And we went to this fitness show in Melbourne, and this is over a couple of years. So I went to this fitness show and I met this beautiful couple, and they're just oh, blah blah blah, we're from Queensland, we're doing a fitness nutrition company, we would love to represent you, blah blah blah. And I was just oh, okay, that's super random, but why not? So I started talking to them and then went back to the hometown and went back to the normal job. And I was always felt like there was something more, I was just stuck kind of thing. Well, not stuck, but how you're just not growing.
Yeah.
So I kind of felt like that. And anyway, so I ended up joining their company in this amazing nutrition company. It was all about empowerment. And that's kind of when I got introduced to coaching a little bit. And I was oh, this is kind of cool. This is something I would like to do. But I never really delved into it. I was oh, this is kind of cool. Then they were because they were in Brisbane and I was in Melbourne, and they're oh, we'd love to have a Skype Zoom with you to meet some of our team. And I was no worries. And on the team call, I met this guy, and he was their coach kind of thing, their mindset coach. And he was lovely, and he had the same last name as my friend Ben in Melbourne. And I was oh, that's kind of weird, but it's a super common last name, so I don't think anything of it. Anyway, so he added me on Facebook, and Ben was whoa, hold up, how are you guys friends? That's my brother that you didn't get to meet when you were 18, like 10 years ago. And I was like, what is going on? So I'm like, yeah, okay, that's a bit crazy. So he didn't actually work for this nutrition company. He was just like friends with them. So fast forward, I ended up in a job, like I was working for like Rip Curl, and I had to go to a conference in Brisbane. No, Gold Coast, sorry. I'm thinking Brisbane, but I meant Gold Coast. So I had to go to like a conference in Gold Coast, and I was getting a coffee, and I walk in and there's Ben's brother. And he's like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, I don't know. Like, I just decided I felt like I needed to come to Gold Coast today. And I was like, that's so weird. Like, so weird. And I'm like, yeah, no worries. Like, blah, blah, blah. And I got talking to him, and he's like, I really want you to meet my friend Jess and my friend Soph. And I was like, really, like, oh, you know what? Like, they sound really cool. And it was to do with like the nutrition company again. So I kind of met them. I met Jess at conference, and she's just like this big ball of light. Like, you just want to hug her. She's amazing. And I was just like, straight away, I was like, this is like my people. Like, well, it was really weird because you know when you just know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, she's amazing. And I kind of just stayed friends with her. And I met like Soph, she spoke at our conference, and she's just like the most epic business bombshell woman ever you'd ever meet. Like, she's just amazing. She's self-love. She's like, embrace your jiggly bits. Like, she's just fantastic. And her energy was just through the roof. And I was just like, you know what? These girls are amazing, blah, blah, blah. And then I came back to Melbourne. Didn't think anything of it. Came back to Melbourne. So I come back to Melbourne, and I was like, oh, I feel like I'm going to be doing something with like helping people, but I just didn't really know what that was, I guess, at that stage. Still kept in contact with them and everything like that. And then, yeah, I met Pixie, and we did like psychic development, and that's like when my journey kind of really, really started. Then I was looking into coaching and like self-development coaching, and more like what I'm doing now, like self-love coaching, like how, like teaching yourself to love yourself, because it's so important, and empowerment coaching. And I randomly got like, one of my friends was like, oh, there's this thing on Facebook, and it like popped up, and it was like a coaching webinar or something. And I'm like, yeah, all right, I'll do that. That's in Melbourne. I don't really know anyone else who would be doing it. And mid-webinar, I get a message off Nath, and he's like, what are you doing in the webinar? So that's Ben's brother, the same guy that I like, so crazy. And I'm like, what is actually happening? So straight away, I was like, this is where I'm meant to be. I'm meant to be doing coaching. Like, this is fantastic. So I joined up, and I was doing coaching. Then a couple of years went by, I guess, and I continued to do coaching. And then like when I had to ring up the coaching place for something, and I like hadn't really spoken to Nate like all that much, like we just kind of randomly run into each other. And I was speaking to this girl, and she's like, oh, I'll just put you under my colleague, I'm going home. And Nathan answers the phone, and I'm like, what is happening? And he's like, oh, I just moved down from Brisbane, I'm working here now. And I'm like, sorry, what is going on? Like, this is crazy. And he's like, oh, blah, 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 there's this extra course running, I think you should do it. And I was like, done. I'll do that. So then I was catching up with my friend, and we were out in Melbourne, and we randomly decided to go out, and I met this girl, and it's just so crazy when you meet people and you're just like, they're my people. Yeah. Like, I randomly met her at a bar, and we literally just walked across and just hugged each other. Like, it was so weird.
Yeah.
But we're just like, we're friends, like straight away. And she's just like, oh, I'm from Adelaide. And I'm like, oh yeah, cool. Like, I'm from Melbourne. She's like, oh yeah, I've come over here to do a course. And I was just like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, I've got a course tomorrow I'm doing. And it was the same course. And we're both like, what? And Nath actually introduced her to the course as well. So it's like, he's just like intertwined. So it's really crazy. And then, yeah, so I started doing that, and I met her, and then everything kind of just fell into place. So Jess and Soph, like, basically approached me, I guess. Like, Jess, I knew there was something happening. Like, the whole time I've just been feeling like I'm getting ready for something. So I'm building this brand, and I don't know what I'm doing, but, like, I've got to do it. It's like when birds make nests, but they're like, I've got to do it. I have no idea why I'm doing it, but I've got to do it. So I was like doing that with like my brand, because I was very like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm very like, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this, but then like nothing would stick kind of thing. And I'm like, no, it's got to have something to do with my empowerment coaching. It's going to do something to do with like my psychic like abilities and like all my psychic services. And I'm just like, how do I merge that? Like, I don't know really how that's going to happen. And then literally like magic, Jess messaged me and she's just like, hey babe, like we're about to launch this amazing vegan, non-toxic, cruelty-free skincare. And I was just like, oh, and she's like, we want you to be one of the first ambassadors in Australia on launch. Like, we're still in pre-launch, but I was just like, yes, and it is amazing. Like, I just feel so aligned and it's just fantastic. But like, on a side note, what's freaking crazy, Nathan's ex-girlfriend is in the same company.
Wow.
What is happening in my life? But everything has kind of come together. Like, everything was meant to work out that way.
Yeah.
So I feel so aligned, and like there's so many other like mediums and like everything in this group of like amazing people, and they all stand for exactly what I stand for. The skincare is phenomenal. Like, it's just, and since like saying yes to that, everything has just come together. Well, it's been amazing.
Yeah.
Sorry, my story goes for ages.
No, it's so essential. You know, like every piece of your story is so essential. Yeah.
It's just
and it
crazy.
It gives me goosebumps. And I just think, you know, these people, you must have had past lives together. You must have, like, in the spirit realm, gotten together and been like,
100%.
we're going to meet here and I'm going to put you on your path here. And, you know, it's
you're going to go and do this.
Yeah.
But, like, it's just crazy because if I hadn't have gone, like, if I hadn't have worked with Ben all those years ago, I wouldn't have moved to Traralgon. If I didn't move to Traralgon, I wouldn't have met Stace. If I didn't meet Stace, I wouldn't have done fitness modelling.
Yeah.
If I didn't go fitness modelling, I wouldn't have met Tori, and I wouldn't have gone into that, and then I wouldn't have met Nathan again, and he wouldn't have introduced me to Jess.
Yeah.
And, like, then I wouldn't have gone and done coaching, and then it's just crazy, like, how it's all, like, bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, I love it. It really, really shows that when you're on the path, there's this feeling that you've got, and, you know, other signs keep showing up, and it's just amazing.
Just seeing numbers everywhere.
Yeah. So tell us about your readings, because I know that you said that, you know, from when we were doing psychic development, you've been building on that business for, you know, three or 4 years. So tell us a bit about your readings and what are people likely to receive when they get a reading from you?
So with my readings, when I did join, that was another really weird synchronicity. Is it synchronicity? That's what, yeah. Really weird synchronicity. So basically, I wasn't like super good friends with Britt, who she ran our psychic development course. It was amazing. I'm so thankful for that. But I'd met her a couple of times, and she's like, "Oh, I've got a psychic group." Because I was really looking for one, because it can be really hard to find a circle sometimes. Like, and she's like, "Oh, you should come." And I nearly bailed like so many times because I was like, "Oh, anxiety, you know, people I don't know." But she lived around the corner from me, and I went, and it was literally like straight away I met Pixie, and I was like, you know, I know my soul family, like they all get it. I'm not crazy here, like they understand, and I got a lot out of that. So I have always done card readings. I've done them for about probably like 15 years. I've always done cards, like probably longer. Like even when I was like little, we always had like totem cards that Mum would get us to pull and everything like that. So we've always been really spiritual. Like I thought it was kind of normal to, you know, see people walking through your house, and I just thought that was normal until like I moved out, and it's still normal, but like other people, it's not I guess their norm. So I was just like, oh, you don't talk to like your grandpa? Like, oh, okay, like just me then. Like, yeah. So I started working on my cards. I do like readings, as in I can see like where you are on your life path. So I do life coaching, so that ties in really well. So I can see your life path, where you're going, where you're starting from. I've been doing online readings at the moment, and literally every single review has been absolutely crazy accurate. I had one. What did I have? I had one last night, actually. Like, can I talk about that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I had one last night. So I hadn't met this girl. She's a beautiful girl, but I hadn't met her. She messaged me on Instagram, and I won't follow them back if they're private, because I don't want to know anything about them. So she accepted me on, she messaged me on Instagram. She's like, can you do a reading or a run? I'm just like, yeah, I can pull some cards and I can see what's going on. So I pulled the cards, and the cards I pulled, I've never pulled them before. Because I use 3 or 4 decks.
Yeah.
It's just whoever feels like that particular card.
Yeah.
But I pulled her cards, and I've never received them before. And I just felt really, because I'm quite empathetic, I just wanted to cry the whole time I was doing her cards. And I was like, I feel like she's lost a partner, or she's lost someone very close to her, and she's struggling with moving forward. And then sometimes I'll get messages when I'm doing the cards of people talking to me. So I had a male talking to me, and he just kept saying, she's surrounded by houses. You need to tell her about the houses. And I'm like, everybody's surrounded by houses. We live in a town. She's going to think I'm crazy. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So I messaged her with her reading. So I go quite in depth with the reading as well. I send the cards. I'll do voice notes also, but I like to write it out. So you can either save it and you've got a voice note as well. She messaged me back today, and her partner had actually passed away, and she works in conveyancing. In housing estates.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's really good, because I didn't know anything about this girl. We barely spoke. She was just like, I would like a reading.
Yeah.
And that was it. So,
yeah.
That's quite good as well. But yeah, I kind of delve into that. And sometimes with the self-love side of things, I can see where you're lacking. So it kind of all intertwines for me to see if you've got stuff going on, or what you need to work on, or how to kind of overcome something that you're working on at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So pretty much, especially if people are interested in understanding what's their soul calling, then they would definitely really benefit from your readings.
Yeah.
I'd also like to talk a little bit about your mediumship abilities, because I remember when we were doing the psychic development, I think at that stage you told me that you could see them but you couldn't hear them. So now you're hearing them as well?
Yeah, it's so strange. So, so when I started with our psychic development course, I would just see them. And I guess the best way to describe me seeing people is, it's kind of like when you see someone in the dark. You can see them, but you can't see all of them. That's probably the best way I can describe that. So since starting my psychic development, oh my God, it's gone a bit crazy. So I used to only see them at nighttime, and I see them all the time now, and I hear them now I never used to hear them. And when I started hearing them was actually when I was with Tori, because she did psychic development as well in Queensland. And she kind of taught me how to tune in to hear them. And I'm not going to it freaked me out, because I'd never heard them before.
Yeah.
I just I'd get messages thoughts in my head. That's how I would communicate with them. But now I actually hear them. So we were at Surfers Paradise, and I kept hearing a knock at the door, and come on, darling, we've got to go to the beach. We've got to go. And I'm like, why do they want to go to the beach now? It's 4 o'clock in the morning. So I got up and I got ready, and I started walking down, and I could hear this lady going, come on, we're going to go to the beach. We're going to go to the beach. And Tori come out. She's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, you told me to go to the beach. And she's like, no, that wasn't us. And I'm like, oh, did I have a visitor? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, cool, okay. I'm just going to go back to bed.
Yeah.
But now I kind of hear them. I bet I've learned how to tune it off as well, because I think that's really important, because when I started, I didn't know how to turn it off.
Yes.
And everybody was just coming at me all the time with messages, and it was just way too full on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do hear them at the moment as well. Like this morning I went for a walk and I didn't notice, but I could see like hands, like gardening. And I stopped and I just must have this look on my face, and I was like, what is going on there? And I could just see hands gardening. And my best friend's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, she's like, hang on, no, what are you looking at? And I'm like, oh, there's someone in their garden gardening. And she's like, did you see what's in the window? And I was like, no. And it said rest in peace on the person's name who had just died in the house, and they were a gardener. And I was like,
Keep getting goosebumps.
I think
all the
that's so
goosebumps
beautiful
with you.
though, that they're still there gardening and looking after their house.
Yeah.
So that has definitely, I'm still working on that obviously a lot more. But yeah, I can tune into that as well. I'm very attuned to people's houses more so. I can literally walk into someone's house and say if there's something in there, if it's good, if it's not so good.
Yeah.
And do that as well. So yeah, house hunting for me is so fun.
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah, I'm the same as well.
Yeah.
I go into a house and I'm like, whoa, something intense happened here.
Yeah, or I even get to the front gate and I'll like walk. So when I was in Scotland, because obviously it's very like history over there, when we went to Belfast in Ireland, I didn't sleep for like 2 days. I hated Belfast.
Right.
Like with a passion. Because I literally felt the whole time I was in Belfast, I felt like a man was choking me.
Oh my God.
Like the whole time. And I was just like, this place is awful. Beautiful place. If you're not a medium, do recommend to visit. But yeah, it was just very, Ireland and Northern Ireland is very hectic for me.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, when we went to Scotland, I realised how in tune I was. So we went on a tour with this tour guide in Edinburgh. And I was nearly crying, and I kept like holding my fingernails, and I was like, I feel like someone is like ripping my fingernails off where we were standing. And Steph's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, I feel like someone is like putting nails through my fingernails. And the guide just like stared at me because it was like a nighttime tour, and he's like, I don't believe in ghosts. And I freaked him out.
Wow.
He's just like, do you know where you're standing? And I was like, no. And he said, where you're standing is where they used to, people who were like accused of witchcraft.
Oh my God.
They used to nail their hands down to boards and then throw them in the river. And I didn't want to go anywhere near the lake. I was just like, Steph's like, let's go have a picnic. And I was like, no, I don't want to go there. But I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So yeah, the whole time, poor Steph, she got a crash course in me pretty quickly because she didn't really know that I was like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we went there, and then we went to Culloden as well. What was a medal, like that's where the Jacobite rebellion kind of fell, and hundreds of thousands of people were murdered, like within like, I think it was like half an hour to an hour, like they're all just shot. But I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And we went there, and it's just a field. And I didn't ask Steph where we're going. I was just like, oh yeah, we're going to do touristy things. And I got there and I was just like, oh yeah, there's some weird stuff about brothers falling. And I didn't really understand. So I was like, okay, because it's only Celtic. So I was like, I don't really know what that means. And as soon as I stepped foot on that battlefield, what I know that it is now, I bawled like the whole time. And I said to Steph, I'm like, I can't stay here. I need to leave. And I could just taste blood and hear screaming, and we left, and she goes, do you know where we were? And I was just like, because I didn't want to look. And I was like, no. And then I looked into it, how many people died. And that's tied in with my family history as well, because we were a part of that. Like, as in like Jacobites, we were a part of that in our family. So yeah, it was pretty crazy. Like,
yeah. Yeah, that's
so
amazing.
that's like my mediumship. I do tap into a lot of things. I can't really I'm learning how to switch it off because sometimes they just start chatting to me, or I'm doing something like...
Yeah, such a good point that you mentioned. But first I want to go back to the thing with the nails. So interesting, because even just the other day, a friend of mine we were talking about past lives, and she was saying that she has a thing with her nails, and she feels like in a past life that she had that experience because of what they did to the witches. So that's that I've just like got constant goosebumps. And then also so that's turning it on and off is such a good point. And I teach this in my course because I do coursework now. I don't know if you've seen that as well. We're actually in the middle of a course at the moment, or starting a course. called Discover Your Intuition. So I sort of broken it up.
That. Yeah.
Broken it up for like, people right at the start. So it's mostly around like meditation, getting to know your guides and clearing your energy. And we work on a lot of stuff around clearing your energy, grounding, protecting your energy, because that's very important, especially doing mediumship.
It's important because they just like come at you because you're a beacon.
Boundaries, putting boundaries in with your, the spirits coming in. And also we do cover turning it on and off, because you need to switch it off, otherwise you're just going. That's why a lot of people get burnt out, people that do psychic work that we know.
100% did. And that's like why because all my psychics that I've seen were telling me I needed a circle, and that's how I met you, because I was just like, no, I need one, because I was getting so burnt out, because like a lot of them do come to me when I'm just about to go to bed. So I guess when I'm the most relaxed. And I get a lot of really pushy ones, and I understand why they're pushing now, because I couldn't hear them. So they were getting really frustrated with me because I couldn't hear them. But that would freak me out more, because they'd like kind of run at me and I'd be like, oh, no, get away, like no. But boundaries was always a big thing for me. So I'm quite bossy with my spirits. I'm just like, not tonight, I'm tired.
Good, that's exactly.
I'll talk to you later.
That's right, I'll make a time with you tomorrow, like a client. So how do you have a process for switching it on and off? Do you do anything in particular?
I try and, nothing sounds odd, but I kind of meditate to turn it off. And I tell myself consciously, we're not doing this today. Not today.
Great.
Stop it. But I found like when the more relaxed I am, the more things like come at me. So I have to consciously say like, not today. I'm too busy for this, or I'm too tired, or stuff like that, because otherwise, I'm still working on that. So you can help me with that. I'm actually wanting to put like a whole YouTube video around that, because there's lots of different ways to tune in and switch off. And what I'm discovering even within my readings is it's different for different people. So for an example, like it's actually kind of a spiritual practice for me, is at the end of the day I have a shower, and that's when I switch it off. So I'm like, we're switching it off now. And I'm sorry, I know that the podcast people can't see this, but I'm like shook, because that's what I do.
Yeah, great.
And I do that as well to kind of wash anything negative off me. Like if I've had a really yuck day, the first thing I'm like, I need to get this off me. Like I need to get it off me. So that's why I was like, what?
It's a really like that works for a lot of people, but for some people that's when they get all their psychic information. So they have a shower and the water is like a conductor for them. So it's kind of like
my friend's like that. She's like, they don't shut up when I'm in the shower. Like, that would suck.
Have a shower at the start of the day, I guess. So you can tell everyone, I'm sure anyone listening can tell what a powerful medium you are, which is why, I definitely wanted to have you on the podcast.
Oh, thanks.
Let's talk a bit more about your coaching. So what kind of coaching do you offer, and who is your typical client? So what will they get from you?
So I do empowerment coaching, what you can see from both my Instagram accounts, what's Lost Gypsy Collective or Bubbling. I do empowerment coaching. So my background before I kind of got into all of this and during this is I came from community services, and I was a case manager for a lot of women who have come out of abusive relationships, not good relationships, or they don't have a good relationship with themselves. And basically I do goal setting. So I'm really good to come to if you need to set some goals, if you're really bad at sticking to your goals, because I've done the legwork. I've done the whole I've tried things what happened to me, because at the start of my journey I was terrible at sticking to anything. I'd be like, I'm going to set a goal, and then I would set a different goal, and then a different goal, and a different goal, and then I'd look back at the end of the year and see my diary, and I'm like, okay, I had 40 business plans going, and I was going to do this, this, and this, and I ended up doing completely different things. But so I do goal setting. I worked in recruitment for 6 years, so I'm really good at setting personal goals, career goals, all around self-love and self-care, because I think that is so important, because if you don't love yourself, someone else can't fill that gap within you. And I think a lot of issues around that is like when you see people that go through constant breakups, they're breaking up, then they're in a relationship, breaking up because you're dragging all of your stuff with you. So I do a lot of breakup coaching as well. I didn't even tell you that last night. I do a lot of breakup coaching as well.
Wow.
Breakup coaching, self-love, motivation coaching, and just like helping you get out of your funk and kind of like, you know, see your purpose in life. Like, everyone, we all have a purpose, and sometimes we're just too busy, there's too much going on, and we can't see that. And I think because I'm so aligned now and I know my purpose, I just like helping people see their purpose as well. So I do a lot of coaching around that. I can, like, you know, take you out into the wilderness and do some sound healing, and it's really good. So
That's amazing. Yeah, you didn't tell me about breakup coaching. That sounds amazing.
I didn't even think, I was too busy talking to you last night.
No, that's, yeah.
I was driving, I'm like, did I even tell her that? Because that's like a lot of what I do. Like,
that a lot of people need that. Like, that's that's incredible.
Because you lose yourself.
Oh yeah.
So many people, like, you're in a relationship for a long, like, I've lost myself several times, like, in relationships, and it's through that I've got growth, and I understand, like, you know, so relationships end because, you know, something better is coming. Like, your path is sending you to a place. Like, yeah, it's heartbreaking, it's horrible, but you need that to grow. Like, growth sucks.
Yeah.
It's awesome, but, like, I think a lot of people, like, dress up growth. Like, oh, it's a beautiful, wondrous thing. It's not. Like, it's brutal.
Oh, yeah.
And when people are going through that, they're like, oh my God, but, like, her growth was amazing. She had it on Instagram. It's not amazing.
No, maybe
like,
the end result is amazing.
The end results are awesome, but, like, growth, like, when you are in it, is brutal. Like, because you're like, am I doing the right thing? Is this working? Why does this always happen to me? Because that's when you get that reflection of, why is this happening to me? Okay, let's look at my patterns. Because that's what I had to do. I was like, oh, I keep dating these guys who are just dicks. Like, why am I attracting that? And then I was like, hang on, I'm attracting that. Like, I'm actually attracting that. So deep in my subconscious, I was just like, oh, obviously I'm not, you know, worthy of having some amazing relationship or something like that. But I had to really dig deep and stay away from men for a while. I just didn't go near anyone for a while. But that was a part of my growth. But that was brutal because you have to be really honest with yourself, and that sucks.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you're like, I can't blame anyone else for this. Like, this is totes all on me.
Yeah.
And yeah, it sucked, but, like, I had a few people around me who were freaking amazing, and I was just like, you know what, like, more people need people like that, because when you go through, like, any form of growth, if it's career growth, personal growth, like, growing out of your relationship, people don't talk about that. Like, if you're going through amazing personal growth but your partner's not growing with you, that's, you know, that's, people don't talk about that though. Yeah. They're just like, oh, it didn't work out. But, like, they don't say, like, if your partner doesn't grow with you, or sometimes you just grow apart. And that's totally normal. Like, that happens. Yeah. Happens with friendships, happens with relationships. So, yeah, I do a lot of that as well.
Definitely. Yeah, I always say that growth is uncomfortable.
Oh, it's so uncomfortable. Yeah. But you've got to get comfortable with throwing yourself into, like, super uncomfortable situations. Yeah. Because that's when amazing things happen.
Yeah. Well, it's just like physical growth. Like, I don't know if you ever experienced growing pains when you're a child.
Yeah,
but, like,
I got it in my legs, like, so bad.
Yeah, growth is uncomfortable. Growth can be painful.
Thought I was going to have model legs.
So I know how excited you are about the Bombshell skincare range. So tell us a bit about that.
I just love this skincare range so much. You can tell because I'm all high-pitched now. So Beauty by BB is just spectacular. It is a vegan, all vegan, paraben-free, what I found really important, cruelty-free, non-toxic, and it's dermatologically tested individually and by the company. It's really hard to come by that. It was really important for us that we had an amazing skincare range that is vegan, paraben-free, and non-toxic, because I don't know about you, but I found it really hard to when I started my journey, because I used to just use anything. Like, I'd just go to Kmart and be like, yeah, it's totes fine, I'll use this. And I was wondering why I was breaking out. Or I was using coconut oil because apparently that fixes everything, but it doesn't.
Yes, I'm so glad. Yeah. People need to know that. Do not put
doesn't
coconut
fix
oil.
anything.
Do not put it on your face.
All it does is it acts like a barrier cream. So, like, if you have dirt and stuff on your face, I'm like, you obviously do because it's in your pores. You can't get all that out all the time.
Yeah.
But it just blocks it in there and then you break out. So, yeah, it was really important for us that we had like an amazing skincare range. And when Sophie started this and she broached me about it, I was like, that's brilliant. Like, it's so hard to get anything that is really good and feels good. So we've got like 5 products. I'm going to show you.
Yeah, show me.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So we've got a beautiful Monticello water. What, my cat knocked mine over, but you know, we do have it and it's gorgeous. They're lightly rose scented as well. What is stunning. And the most important thing is they are suitable for all skin types. So I have super sensitive skin. Like, I used to get like a bit of dermatitis and eczema, and I was like, every single time I change skincare, my skin breaks out. It just like goes on strike. So I was really like, oh, if it works for me, I'm going to love it. And obviously it does. Like, I'm wearing makeup now, but I don't wear makeup all the time now. Like, when I first met like you, I would not leave the house without makeup. I'd be like, no, none of that.
Yeah.
So we have a hydrating spray as well. It's beautiful. And it's got avocado and aloe in it with a beautiful rose water. If you would like to try some of that, you can just spray it on your face.
Spray it on my face? Okay. Do you shake it or anything?
You can shake it if you like. The concentration on your face. Yeah,
it smells amazing.
Yeah, it's so nice. So especially like in summer, or I just have that in my bag like throughout the day.
Yeah.
There's an AM and a PM serum as well. So basically the AM serum one I just love. You only have to use like 4 drops, but it stops all the free radicals. So out of makeup, out of the sun, everything like that. It's got UV protection in it as well.
Right.
And it doesn't smells like super light, rosy. I'll just
put it on like there, or?
Yeah, you can just put it on there. So it's not oily.
Yeah.
It feels like silky.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. So that is also a really good makeup primer. That's what I use. Because I was using some makeup primers from Mecca because I thought I was doing the best thing for my skin, and it turns out they were so full of toxins.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I kind of like ditched them, and then I've just been using this, and it actually goes on better.
Yeah.
And my makeup comes off a lot better, what you can use the Monticello water for as well.
Right.
So the Monticello water that takes off your makeup, it also tones your face at the same time.
Yeah.
That's like so good.
Yeah.
What else have we got? Oh, it's like Christmas. I'm doing all these packages. We have a PM oil and a face mask, what I'm a little bit obsessed with. Anyone who has me on Instagram, they're probably like, does this girl ever stop talking about this face mask? The question is no, she doesn't. So, our face mask, it isn't, a lot of clays, they kind of feel like when you put them on your skin, you know, they kind of feel chalky. This doesn't feel like that. So this has got some almond oil in it, and it's got some vitamin E, and it's got some gentle natural clays. I can say that mine's very loved. I use it quite a lot. It smells kind of like, I might get you to describe it actually, because I'm...
Oh yeah, it just smells like really fresh,
like
and
Granny's roses.
yeah, it's beautiful.
So, and it's like a mousse consistency. So if you want to grab some of that.
Yeah,
And you can put it anywhere you like. But basically, you just like put it on a super thin layer. You can do this like 2 to 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I have to put a cap on it because otherwise I'll do it every night. Everyone's like, you're not doing a mask again, are you? And I'm like, no. So basically like 2 to 3 times a week. And like traditional masks, you usually have to wash off all the excess. And I don't know about you, but I hate washing off masks. I always get water everywhere. Water always runs down my arm. I get really aggro. I think I'm just onco when it's I'm not like super beauty, but like I'm very onco. So with this, your skin actually sucks in the majority of it.
No way.
So it will kind of dry and it kind of just goes into a moisturizer, and then you can just kind of wipe off and wash off the excess.
Wow.
So once that's done, you just pop on a couple of drops of your PM. So this one is anti-aging. Basically, it smooths out your skin and it promotes collagen.
Yeah,
so
beautiful.
It's really good. So you pop it on, you go to bed, and you wake up and you're like glowy. Like the first time I used it, I woke up and I was like, oh, I look like I have highlighter on. I'm about this life.
Wow.
So it's got pomegranate and grapeseed oils in it with a few other like beautiful ingredients as well. They're all natural, non-toxic, as I said, and they're all dermatologically tested and most importantly cruelty-free, because so many brands I didn't realize still test on animals. Like it's 2020, we're so outdated, we shouldn't be doing that anymore.
Yeah.
But so many brands do it still.
Oh yeah, it all just smells so beautiful.
Yeah.
And yeah, just like not overpowering, because there'd be no fragrance in it, would it? Like
no, it's just natural rose water.
Yeah.
It's all fragrance just by natural rose water. So
Yeah.
it just literally smells like
what's in it?
fresh roses out the front.
Yeah.
Like when I first got this like samples sent to me, I was just like, oh my God, it smells like just like grandma's roses. Like
Yeah.
obsessed.
Well, I've been like low tox, or where possible, no toxins, no chemicals, ever since I had my son, Presley.
Yeah, you said that.
So he's 5 years old. And then when I went vegan, like 2 years later, it was just nearly impossible to find like many good vegan products that weren't just full of chemicals. So I've honestly really, really struggled. Like we were talking about the coconut oil last night. I just started using coconut oil and making my skin even worse.
That's what happened to me.
Yeah, I've had really, so this is part of why I'm so excited about this as well, is because I've actually had a really hard time with my skin ever since going vegan.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that it's vegan. I love that it's, low tox. Is it low tox or no tox?
It's non-toxic.
Yeah, non-toxic. So there's no chemicals
No
at
chemicals at all. And the whole company is based around self-care and self-love and acceptance.
Yes.
Honestly, that had me. Like, I was just like, the fact that it is, women rising into their power and, accepting you for you. Like, everybody's a bikini body. Like, don't wait until, like, summer to be like, oh, I'll wait till next summer to wear a bikini. No, life's too short. Wear a bikini now. Like, you're gorgeous. Like, and the thing with, like, self-care and self-beauty is, like, self-care is not just about skin, like, face masks and all that. For me, like, face masks makes me feel good. But if you have good skin and your skin is happy, you feel awesome. So, and that's a lot of it too. So we just wanted to make a really beautiful product line, what would, help people just absolutely love themselves. And yeah,
exactly. Well, yeah, it really does go hand in hand, doesn't it?
It has those ethics, as in like non-toxic, vegan, and it's dermatologically tested in 2 separate countries as well. So
right. And you said that all the packaging is made by recycled materials, and it's all recyclable as well.
It's all sustainable as well. So we've got a few eco babes on our team, and they just absolutely love it. So like yourself, they've been like completely chemical free for years, and they're vegan and everything like that. So yeah, it's really good, the fact that there's nothing bad in it. Like it's just amazing products.
Yeah. And I just love how all of these, these 3 modalities that you are doing with the skincare, the coaching, and the the intuitive business, they all just go
together so
well, they really do.
Yeah.
And so, the self-love coaching and the skincare, like, it really does go hand in hand, because as I mentioned, like, I've definitely personally struggled with like acne prone skin really badly, like all around under my chin, and I would be so embarrassed, and I'd be like launching my business and not wanting to like take photos of myself because I was just so embarrassed about my skin. And I do feel like it was definitely part of it was what I was doing with my skin. Like, even just forgetting to wash my skin at night, just stuff like that.
Many people do that.
Yeah, like,
and, like,
just
I'm not gonna lie, I did that like when I was like probably my 18, 19, And you go out and you just come home and you go to bed. And I look back now and I'm like, girl, wash your face. Like, we wash our hands. We need to wash our face.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But, like, I think that's a lot of people, like, they know it, but they're like, I'll just take it off later. But especially, like, I'm in my 30s, a lot of people think I'm in my 20s because I take really good care of my skin.
Yeah.
But I love playing that game with people. I'm like, how old am I?
Well, as you mentioned last night, our skin is our largest organ. And so part of the coursework that I do as well is I do a topic, and it's all around high vibrational food and energy. And I believe everything is energy. I can tell just by these products how high vibrational they are. You really got to really be careful what you are doing, and especially with our largest organ on our body, we need to worship our skin.
We do, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I just love that so much. It really ties in with the self-love and self-worthiness. Let's talk a little bit about authenticity. So what were some of the struggles that you have had about living this authentic life that you are now?
Oh, my main struggle, I think, was I was really concerned about, I think, what I'm not now, but that's growth, was I was really worried about what people would think of me. So I've always been psychic medium. I've done that forever. I have a lot of messages that come to me through dreams. So a lot of my friends will ring me to tell me they're pregnant, and I already know. I'll be like, I had a dream last night you were pregnant, and they're like, oh, yeah, I am. Or, yeah, I had a dream about that. Or I'll be doing something, I'll be like, I dreamt about this. Like, deja vu, it's crazy. But I never really put it out there. So I never put on my social media that I did psychic mediumship. Like, my close friends kind of knew. Some of my close friends didn't, because I was like, oh, they're going to judge me. They're going to think I'm crazy. So a lot of that was, I guess, my barrier too. So I kind of struggled with that because I was just like, I was really caught up in what others would kind of think of me. And then, a couple of my psychics were like, you need to start sharing your gifts. And then when I started with psychic development when I met you, I was just like, and I watched you launch Pixie Steps, and you've just done amazing things. And I was just like, well, you know what, Pixie's just done these amazing things, and that kind of gave me the courage as well to kind of step up into mine, because I'm like, I'm kind of being selfish. I've got all these amazing gifts, but it's like I'm not letting anyone use them. What is now I'm like, I was so selfish. But I was just really concerned about what people would think and everything like that. And then when I started kind of sharing this to social media and everything like that, because I did that, that's kind of, I think Jess would have found me anyway, because that was just going to happen. But it has brought so many new friendships about, it's brought so many amazing opportunities about. I would have never thought even a year ago that I'd be sitting here doing a podcast with you about my gifts. That's just crazy. But yeah, that was probably my most, that I really struggled with that, because I guess the people you surround yourself with, if you surround yourself with people who don't think outside the box, when you think outside the box, you're going to feel like you're nuts.
Yeah.
So it was just more about stepping into being uncomfortable to meet those amazing people and to meet your soul family, because they're definitely out there.
Yeah, 100%. So how can we start loving ourselves today? What's one thing that we can do that we can just start today?
Just small steps. So just, even if it's like one of my friends, what she does, the one thing she does that makes herself love herself is she has a cup of tea every day. And it's tiny, but she's doing that for herself. So have a cup of tea, have a shower every day, just small little steps. I spoke about this in a coaching class I was in last night, actually, after I was on the phone to you. A lot of people don't know about, I refer to it as dead time. And people are like, what's dead time? So what are you listening to or doing when you're brushing your teeth, when you're doing your makeup, when you're cooking dinner? So that's dead time. So you could be listening to motivational podcasts. You could be listening to motivational videos on YouTube. or audiobooks, or like if you're not a reader, I'm not a reader. I try and read, but I'm just not a reader. I try so hard. So I listen to audiobooks. So when you're driving in the car, like sometimes I will listen to music because that's kind of like my meditation is of such. It kind of gets me in my groove. But if I'm doing something, I'm like, you know what, like I want to learn, I've started learning Norwegian. Random fun fact. But I'm just like, when COVID hit and we went into lockdown and everything, and I couldn't do anything, I'm like, I'm going to learn a second language. I want to go to Norway. I don't know why I want to go to Norway, but someone's telling me to go to Norway, so I'm going to Norway. And I'm like, well, I'm going to learn Norwegian because I want to know what they're saying to me. So
amazing.
It's so random. So in my dead time, so I travel to work 15 minutes in the car, I will put on a thing and I'll learn a bit of Norwegian 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes at night. That is kind of my self-care as well because I'm doing something for me.
Yes.
Because I think we give so much to everyone else. Like so much.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a massive believer, and Pixie will know this because like my whole Instagram is this, is I am statements are so important. Affirmation statements, they will change your life. Like, because everyone can tell you that you're amazing, but you'll be like, oh yeah. But if you start telling yourself every single morning, even though you might feel like a total idiot standing in front of the mirror and being like, I'm amazing, I'm a boss, I got this. Like, you'll feel like, when I started, I was like, dude, who are you? Like, what are you doing? But I literally get up in the morning and I'll be doing my makeup and I'm like, yes, queen, you look amazing. Your makeup's awesome. Like, you've got this. Like, you're going to slay your day. And like, I get up and I'm bouncing out of bed. And my boyfriend just looks at me. He's like, yeah, cool. You're happy today. But I honestly think affirmation statements, I know they are, it sounds super basic, but just do one little thing for yourself today. If that's having a bath, if it's buying a really nice candle. Like, I don't know what this is, but it smells delicious.
Do you remember Lauren from our group?
Oh, Florence candle.
Yeah.
I love Lauren. She's going to hear this and be like, yes. Shout out to Soul Queen.
In our psychic development group as well.
Yeah, there's so many of us that have just done amazing things. But yeah, so just small things like buying a candle, lighting your favorite candle. So I'm very like senses orientated. I think a lot of people are like that, but my self-care is lighting a candle. I put on some music. It depends on what mood I am. I can go from like Lizzo to like meditation music, like, you know, that's just me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like, if I really want to relaxing, I'll just put on some like Native American flute music. That's kind of how I like tune into things as well. Light a candle, cook yourself a really nice meal. Like, just super simple things. Like, prepare your lunch for the next day because you'll be so happy that you've done that. A, self-care. But B, like, you'll be like, you know what, I really deserve to have a nice lunch. Like, don't just save your nice meals for the weekend. Like, treat yourself every single day because life is so short.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just small things like buy some perfume, like, yeah, really simple.
1000%. I love that. What is your number one spiritual practice? So maybe something that you do daily or something that you always go back to.
Yep.
Yeah.
That I do. Oh, I always listen to Native American flute music or handpan music. Have you heard of handpan music?
Oh, it sounds really familiar.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I feel like Googling it.
Yeah, you'll have to send it to me.
Yeah, so basically I always listen to that when I'm either having a shower or a bath.
Yeah.
That kind of just ties up the day for me or starts the day just very calm and on the right frequency for me. I always have particular candles that I use. Like, I like citrusy candles. Like, this one is delicious. But things like that. And at the end of the night, what I do every single day without fail is I do a meditation before I go to bed. Before I started psychic development, I didn't even know that I was doing a meditation. That's just what I've always done. So I always did a meditation. I always said, like, these are my goals for the night. This is what I want for the night, for the next however long. I can do this. I'm worthy. Don't listen to self-doubt. And I kind of do my I am statements. I meditate and then I go to bed.
Beautiful. So what is one thing that has helped you on your journey? So this can be anything. It could be like a healing that you've received. It could be a quote that's blown your mind, a book that you've read or listened to, like, something that has helped you on your journey that you want to share with others.
Definitely taking advantage of your dead time. That has helped me, like, beyond words. And the quote, fall forward. Like, you're gonna fall. Like, you're gonna fail. Like, fail is first attempt in learning. That's, like, my favorite quote. It's because people are like, oh, I'm afraid to fail. You want to fail. Like, we don't want to fail, but, like, you're gonna fail, and that's how you learn.
Yeah.
Like, if we don't fail, like, none of us would be doing anything, because, so that's basically what's helped me heaps. Definitely affirmations, statements, everything like that. But when I did the psychic development when I met you, that absolutely kicked everything off for me, because I was very, like, I didn't really know where I was going. But that, along with, like, my affirmation practices and everything like that, definitely has helped me heaps.
Oh, yes. So much yes to all of that. So how can people connect with you? So if they've loved what they've heard today, what is the best way that they can connect with you and work with you?
So I've actually got a Linktree account, so you can connect with me on Facebook. So it's Andrea Lynn with Linn for Nelly. You can connect with me on Instagram under Lost Gypsy Collective, or you can connect with me on my main Instagram, what's Bublin, so Bublin. I've got a Linktree account in there, or you can just message me directly. And you've got all my websites. We've also got our skincare range on there as well. Our next drops tonight at 8 o'clock. It's super exciting.
Yeah, awesome.
But so you can pretty much find me on all of my social media channels.
And I'll link all of them in the show notes as well. So make that
so much easier.
Heaps easy. Yeah, great. Well, this has been so amazing. I'm so glad that we're
full of energy right now.
Thank you so much for this.
No, that's okay. Thank you so much for having me.
Wow, what an amazing episode. I literally had goosebumps the whole time Andrea was talking, and I thought she just had so many amazing golden nuggets in there that I hope that you got. And thank you so much for listening to this episode. Don't forget to follow this podcast for more interdimensional conversations on all things life, death, and everything in between. And don't forget, even if your wings have been clipped off, they can always regrow.